Yeah, yeah. Okay, finally we're starting this session as audience decided to move coffee break to a little bit earlier time. I would like just to notify that there will be no more breaks this session, and next session is just right after this session. So the session is the role of technologies and innovation in driving sustainable urban growth. And our moderator will be Ms. Leyla Seyidzade from UNDP, and the speakers Ms. Zeyna Nazır, Mr. Eric Johnson, Mr. Royal Yolchuzade, and Mr. Arambiro. So please, the floor is yours.
It's okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Leyla, as it was presented, working for UNDP as an innovation consultant, and we also help government to accelerate programs and processes through innovative solutions. And happy to be here today and moderate the panel, which will be dedicated to the role of technologies and innovation in driving sustainable urban growth. The thing is that innovation is the essential part of urban development, and not only from technology part, but also from human centering design perspective. So we have very interesting presentations from our amazing speakers, and I am eager to start our panel. So let me start with our first speaker, Mrs. Zeyna Nazır. Mrs. Zeyna is a co-founder of Cities Forum UK, expert in transportation, technology and innovation. And let me share more about Ms. Zeyna. She is a global expert in transport innovation. And Zeyna has over 25 years of global experience in strategy, consulting, and innovation at KPMG, Parsons, Jacobs, and AECOM. Zeyna is a leading advisor for governments in smart, resilient, and sustainable cities and smart mobility. Zeyna specializes in entrepreneurship, innovation, growth strategy, and policy in the Middle East, Europe, Asia, and USA. Zeyna is a keynote speaker and author of over 100 papers of international magazines and conferences. And Zeyna also earned a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from the American University of Beirut, Master of Science in Transportation Engineering from the University of Texas, Austin, and an MBA from the University of Chicago. Mrs. Zeyna, we are happy to have you today as a guest speaker. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Leyla, for the introduction. I would like to thank Ms. Anna Suave for the invitation. Thank you. I would like to thank Scupa, UN Habitat, and I would like to thank the city of Baku for being so beautiful. During my visit to the city, I saw a fusion of a world of cultures, all in one city. I will explain that more in my slides. I saw a lot of passion and participation, especially from government officials, which shows commitment from the government to make things happen and to basically to do what they promise to fight for inequality. So well done. If I were to summarize my speech in one sentence, I would like to say that I believe there should be no free road. I'm sorry, I hope this is not bad news for you, but this is the hard truth. to solve climate change, to solve a lot of issues that we've been discussing all day yesterday and today. I believe there should be no free roads. If I can add more, I would like to add that smart technology and innovation do not necessarily require large funds. Smart citizens make cities smarter. Public acceptability and trust are key for a successful city. And this, basically, I say that because you will be having toll road in Azerbaijan. So it's important that people here understand the value and understand the importance of this. And they don't think of it as additional tax, but they think of it as additional benefits to move basically smoother and to reduce congestion. And also, I would like to add that we need to always identify the needs for the immediate for city makers and city planners. So with that, I would like to start my presentation. So basically, I'm co-founder of Cities Forum. We have started or co-founded Cities Forum about 5 years ago with the collaboration of University of Oxford in the UK. So we're experts in transport. We help cities become smarter, more resilient, more sustainable. We have over 200 associated experts around the world, and we literally cover the world. So we have a different work program in digital transformation, in urban planning and cities planning. I know I started with toll road. I'm sorry about that, but that's totally my passion. And I believe this can be a summary of a lot of solutions to help with cities and congestion. So these are projects we've done around the world. So we, as I said, we do cover the world, and we help cities to become more resilient and more sustainable. We've done a lot of work with UN Habitat, with the World Bank, and with different organizations and universities. So you probably, basically, you know, I mean, most of you should know where this is. This is Baku. And as I said, I'm in love with this city. And it is a city-centered, people-centered city. I was amazed with the chess. You know, if you look at the last photo with the chess, and in fact, this was not. A lot of cities have done a lot of activities outdoor during COVID, and this was before COVID. So we can tell you how the city of Baku, and I will give more examples of other cities. You can see how they can smartly use the space, the public space. So that's beautiful. So, and you know, I mean, what I've done is I've added some other cities to see the connection between developed and developing cities. But at the end of the day, we all have the same needs. Cities are very similar, yet they are very unique. My next favorite city is Bogota. So that's in Colombia, and the same thing, they try to make cities, I mean, all the cities I've chosen, basically, they do have congestion charging or toll road, and these are kind of good solutions to make cities basically easier and more livable. Next one is Sao Paulo, and this is Avenida de Polita, so that is like a banking street where you see a lot of people on the lower left, and on a Sunday it's like a party street, and they smartly use it in order to kind of engage the community, engage the neighborhood, and people can be free and enjoy the city without necessarily spending a lot of money, take their family. So this is when I talk about engaging the people and smart citizens, where they can kind of make the best out of the space and enjoy it as well in a sustainable way. Next is where I come from. Well, not necessarily where I've been living most of my life, but I'm originally from Lebanon. But where I'm based in London. But again, London, perfect place for a seamless public transport where, in order to kind of impose congestion charging, they have definitely provided alternative solution, which is excellent public transport, metro, buses, active travel, such as making walking easy, micro-mobility, including scooters, bicycles, electric bicycles. So you can see that you can easily move around without necessarily having to drive your car. Next is Dubai, also my favorite city. I spent a lot of time working and helping the government of Dubai to make it smarter. They have done things a little bit differently, but at the end of the day, it worked out well. So they have basically installed SALIC electronic toll road, and then a few years later, they have built their metro, Dubai Metro. Of course, there was a lot of objection at the beginning because, again, when you wake up and then you have to pay for the road that you're using that you haven't paid for the day before, I totally understand people would not like that. It did create a lot of problems because they would avoid the toll road and then they would move the congestion from basically the Sheikh Zayed road, which is the highway where the toll road is, to the neighboring region, so that wasn't ideal. But then the citizens kind of learned that eventually, by doing that, they are spending more time kind of avoiding the toll, and they're causing traffic congestion. So they eventually started using the toll road and realized that they would save time, and eventually they are saving money because they're driving less time with less stress. So that was actually very good. The metro is excellent. One thing I would like to add about Dubai, and again, back to all cities, we're all similar, yet we are very different and unique. So the Middle East, where again I come from, public transport is not something people are used to. People love, and I stress on the word love, are in love with their cars. They want the convenience, they want their own car, and it's not one car per household, it's several cars. And sometimes cars have names. I mean, this is how people are attached to their cars. So to get them out of the car and to tell them you're gonna use a bus or the public transport, you need to have a really good case. In the case of Dubai, they've done it very smartly. So the metro, they've done basically gold class and then the normal class, and then they separated for families, professionals. So they've done it in a way that tailors all the needs and people feel comfortable. And you will be amazed that the number of ridership is changed amazingly. And the whole concept was inspired by London again, because London Underground is one of the best in the world, and I'm not being biased at all. So yeah, basically this is what I wanted to say is each cities are similar, yet they are very different and unique. And when you're designing for a city, you need to keep in mind the culture, the needs, of each city, and take that into consideration. And then next, I would like to, ask you to close your eyes and imagine a world with no cars, because it starts with us. So when basically we are complaining or we are kind of, again, objecting the decision of the government to toll the road or charge us to use the road, have we thought about it? Have we thought about the benefits, actually, of not driving our own car? And maybe think about the first slide or the first picture is from Beirut, and it says in Arabic, خلي سيارة بالبيت. So keep your car at home, and then take your bicycle and keep your car at home. The second one is, again, London, and you can see the bicycles, the scooters with no cars. And the third one is like something amazing. In Oxford, you have basically moving shops. So you have moving coffee shop, you have moving laundry services, you have all kind of services that could be done on a bicycle. So it is amazing what a bicycle can do. So yes, it is possible. And these are not basically chargeable. So you can use your bicycle without having to pay to use the road. So yeah, let's imagine a world with no cars. I mean, it is possible. And I purposely put Beirut here where, I mean, again, the Middle East, it's like a place where people are attached to their cars, but it's possible to move and live without your car if you look for alternative and look at the benefits of doing that. And this is the reality. I mean, I guess I wanted to dream a little bit of a world with no cars, and the hard truth is that this is the reality. It's a world of cars. And based on, I believe I can't remember if it was the World Bank or the United Nations, but based on statistics, there are over 18% of space in the world occupied by cars. So cars are literally taking over. I don't want to start talking about autonomous vehicles, which is another thing. I mean, it's very controversial, very debatable. My research is on improving the safety of autonomous vehicles, so I shouldn't say much, but all I can say is we need to start thinking when we're applying technology, is it really serving us? Is it really serving us? So this is the question. So we need to really think hard about when we're focusing on, back to the topic of this session about how technology can help people-centered city, can help resilience, can help sustainability. Is it possible, I mean, to use that? So I wanted to leave you with some points. Basically, the benefits of technology where you can use it smartly is when it can play an important and positive role in sustainable urban development, when smart technology and innovation have the ability to improve the quality of life and in the city for the residents, when smart technology and innovation can make cities more livable by reducing traffic congestion. This is why I mentioned congestion charging, and then by providing choices and enhancing public safety. I guess that I lost the... Any reason for that? I can change topic if you like, if you didn't like what I said. I can move to something else. We can talk about music. Okay, thank you. And then how we can benefit from technology to increase safety, economic and societal advances, efficiency, and convenience, and most importantly, mobility. We need to see how we can benefit from smart technology and innovation without necessarily large funds. We need, as I mentioned earlier, we need to be smart as citizens. So yes, there are expectations from the government, but there are also expectations from us as residents. So we need to also support the government and believe in them. I mean, trust them sometimes, because, you know, I mean, politicians are politicians, but at the end of the day, we need to always give them the benefit of the doubt that they're helping the government, they're helping the country to become better, and how can we be involved and help them with that? Because at the end of the day, we are making our life easier and better. So this makes me jump to the next and most important point, which is public acceptability, basically, and trusting the government. Again, back to my one and only statement, an important one: there should be no free road. As I mentioned, in Azerbaijan, you'll be having a toll road that's basically kind of being happening soon. And then city planners can do more with less. And then there's always room to learn. I mean, I gave some examples, so there is a lot of connection. I mean, not only, I mean, as I mentioned, so walking in Baku, I saw Dubai, I saw Istanbul, I saw Beirut, I saw Paris. I saw everything. I saw the world in Baku, in old city Baku, by the seafront. It's so beautiful. So there's so much to learn. There's so much, especially with UN Habitat, having all these beautiful events, you know, having people meeting with each other. So let's learn from each other. Let's learn. I bet we have at least 40 cities here, if not 40 countries in this room. How can we learn from each other? How can we share knowledge while keeping the uniqueness of each city, because each city is unique? Identify the need for the immediate. Again, back to my original point, the need for traffic management to combine managing methods of the urban mobility, such as road pricing or toll road, but then at the same time providing a reliable, safe public transport system, and micromobility, which is, that includes basically non-motorized, vehicles such as scooters, bicycles, and then incentivized program that could encourage certain modes of transport and change people's behavior, because it's again back to the smart citizens. It's important that people change their behavior to make their life easier. And then the result will give us a more efficient, sustainable, livable cities for the people while we're preserving the soul of the city. So with that, I would like to end my presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions during the questions time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we continue with our presentations. And I would like to invite here Mr. Eric Johnson with the topic on developing a framework for smart villages and cities in Azerbaijan. And I would like to introduce Mr. Johnson. He is a lead social development specialist in the Europe and Central Asia region of the World Bank based in Washington, D.C. He manages investment and analytical activities in the region with a focus on community-driven development and local governance, as well as recovery and peace building in conflict-affected areas. His analytical and research work is focused on forced displacement, called just transition, benefit sharing, smart village, rural development, local governance, citizen engagement, and social cohesion. He holds a Master of Public and International Affairs from the University of Pittsburgh and a bachelor degree in Business Administration from Kearney State College. You are welcome. Floor is yours. And I would like to remind about the timing to our speakers so that we have enough time for the questions, which I also have for you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So actually, my presentation is a little different than the title that's in the program. So it's taking a people-centered approach to smart city and smart village development. And before I get into that, I should just add to a little bit of my bio. I'm from the part of the World Bank that focuses on social sustainability and inclusion. And the inclusion part is basically looking out for the interests of vulnerable and marginalized groups. So this could be people who've been displaced, women, sort of gender equality issues, persons with disabilities. So that's sort of the orientation of our work. So all of the speakers were asked to give a key message. I don't know where all these key messages went, but the one that I came up with for this presentation is machines know a lot about what humans want and need, but they can't live in the moment. So basically all this discussion we were having before about artificial intelligence and machine learning, machines know a lot about us. They know what we read, how long we read, where we go, what we search, when we're on the internet, what we buy, what we're interested in shopping for. But machines don't know what you're thinking, what happened yesterday, what happened today, how you're responding to that, how you feel, what are your emotions. And those are all things that we need to take into consideration if we're going to do truly smart planning, whether it's on a village or on a city level. So just getting back to basics, what is smart? We talk about smart villages, smart cities. That term's been used a lot in the presentations today. But there's really 4 key pieces of that that we think about. And this is, I'd say, working in Azerbaijan, my focus has been mainly on the rural level, on the village level, but this applies all the way up to the largest city. So the first thing is the use of data. There'll be a session on that comes next. So why do we use data? We pull together data because we want to bring our starting point up a level from the day-to-day knowledge of what's happening. So we set the data point. What is the social and economic situation within the community? What are the demographics within the community? What economic activities are taking place? That's where we start, and then we can go from there. The second point is about the use of digital tools. So there's lots and lots of digital tools, apps, they're on your phone, they're in your community. The reason we have these digital tools is because it makes things easier. We can do things faster, we can produce things faster, we can get you in for an appointment with your doctor faster, we can get you access to clean water faster in a more productive way, and we can be more efficient. So these are all sort of productivity and efficiency tools that make life easier. The third area is being climate smart. So again, we heard a lot of presentations about net zero, green development, green cities. The ultimate goal here is to make things more sustainable in your community and in the planet. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. And of course, we've heard a lot of different strategies and the ways to respond to the environment around us and the way in which it's changing. And then the last part, which is what I'll focus on mainly, is engaging and empowering people. And the reason you need to do this is because people have ideas in their head about their experience and what could make things better. People are what come up with innovation. Machines don't innovate, people innovate. So it's important to talk to people, to get their ideas. Okay, how could you resolve these problems that you're having? And we saw a great example of the issue of energy access in Africa and an innovation or innovations that have been applied to that. And then secondly, the main reasons for empowering people is to identify their needs and aspirations. And again, those can change from day to day depending on people's experience. Okay. So smart cities and smart villages, smart settlements, we can say, across the different sizes. There's a lot of basic things within a community, regardless of what the size, where you can apply smart solutions. So healthcare, if you're in a very remote area, you can still get access to high quality medical care through your phone or through your computer. The same with education. You can get a high quality university education no matter where you are. And then on the productive side, agriculture and tourism. Agriculture, you can find out exactly how much water do your plants need in order to produce high yields. Tourism, you can attract people into your village who may not know about it otherwise, and you can allow a lot of people within the community to participate if they want to offer a room in their home to be sold, to be rented when people are in the community, or if you have something that you want to share, such as you have animals and you want to show how you're raising your animals for people that are interested in that type of thing. So there's a lot of sort of digital applications that you can use in order to apply sort of a smart approach to rural development. And I would say once you're at the city level, things get a whole lot more complicated because there's a lot more going on. There's a lot more people, there's vehicles, there's pollution, there's a whole lot more private sector activity. So there's a need to respond to all that. That creates opportunities for a lot of technological solutions. Again, we've heard about various types of solutions. But still, it all comes down to really basic human needs and what people are looking for. Yeah, it's a different region of the world, but try to figure out what city that is. But again, it's different scales of the same types of issues. I need to point over here. Yeah. So getting back to the sort of fundamentals of being smart, data. So don't worry about what's on here. I'm not going to try to explain it. This is about sales and sales productivity. The point is that we produce a lot of data and we produce a lot of graphs and we try to help ourselves to make decisions, but we really overwhelm ourselves a lot of the times, and we're not able to actually effectively make use of data to make decisions to improve people's lives. And that's sort of like a basic function of governing any type of a settlement. So there's all of this information. We're trying to figure out what to do with it. And what it really comes down to is digital literacy. And that includes the digital literacy from the CEO or the mayor or the president, whatever highest level, sort of thin level of information that they're getting to make decisions, all the way down to the grassroots level, where there's people who are meant to benefit, from the types of policies and programs that government can offer, but they can only do that if they understand really how to make use of these services. And I know in Azerbaijan, for example, there's hundreds of different public services that are available electronically, but what percentage of those are people making use of? It's not as much as the government would like, and all the people who've worked to make those services digital, it's not as much as they would like. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done in order to raise people's awareness. How can you use this? How is this beneficial for you? And that's really the hard work, but the most important work. And then, again, this is a little hard to see. This is an example from Australia, but just getting into, okay, digital applications and how can we use that to try to understand urban life and what to do to improve urban life or to try to increase development within an urban setting. So this is an application that basically just looks at what's happening within the city, within different neighborhoods. It's called Neighborlytics, so it's about neighborhoods. So where do you shop? How often do you shop? Where do you park your car? Where do you walk? Where do you go to the bathroom, if you're in the city, which can be a problem a lot of times. And then what do you say about things? If you go into a restaurant and you're online, what's your review? Is it a good review? Is it a bad review? So it's a lot of information, and all that is trying to understand what's in people's heads, but it's really doing it from an objective point of view by assessing or analyzing people's behavior. So that is one piece of the puzzle. It's a very important piece of the puzzle, but that's not it. Not very good at clicking here. So what's really needed, in addition to all this data that you can generate, objective data about people's behavior, is human contact. It's the hard part. If you're in a village or a town or a city, interacting with people and trying to understand what their problems are, where they're coming from, it's hard. You have to meet sometimes in small groups. You can have large town halls. You can have online forums. There's a lot of ways you can do that. It's hard to sift the information down to be able to use it for decision making, but it's critical because, again, you can observe things, you can observe behavior and collect a lot of data, but in order to interpret that and decide how to act on it, you need to have interaction with people. So ideally, you'll have a combination. You'll have all of the data and the analytics, powerful access to people's behavior that you can interpret and try to make things better for them. And you can blend that with sitting around the table, having hotlines, having people write in, call in, stop you on the street and say, hey, this is what we want to do. But usually those things don't line up. There's technical people who are crunching numbers, coming up with data and solutions, and there are other people who are communications oriented, they're on the street, they're answering the phone, and often, or more often than not, those people don't talk to each other. They exist in separate worlds. And as a result, you get some kind of hybrid, which is beautiful and fascinating and interesting, like an elephant that has butterfly wings, but that elephant can't fly, and it's not real, and it doesn't work. You need something that works. And so my last point here is ideally, if you can combine together the digital data analysis, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and bring that up to the point where you need a human interpretation, then you'll have these worlds of the machine and humanity living in harmony. You can make truly well-informed decisions about what it takes to improve life, whether it's in a rural environment or an urban environment. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Johnson. And we are moving to our third presentation by Mr. Royal Yolchuzade, who is a UNDP project manager. And we are a team with Royal, actually. Very proud to be here because as UNDP, we are implementing a project together, partnering with Scupa. And Royal will tell more about it now. And let me give some more information about Royal. Royal is a seasoned professional specializing in public innovation and digitalization, currently serving as a project manager at the United Nations Development Programme. Royal leads the groundbreaking initiative establishing an electronic system for urban planning control, utilizing cutting-edge technology for efficient construction monitoring. With prior experience as a head of department at the State Agency on Vocational Education, he has spearheaded the digitalization projects enhancing data governance. Holding NMCs in sustainable management from Uppsala University, Sweden, Royal is dedicated to driving digital transformation and sustainable development, leaving a significant impact on the public innovation landscape. Royal, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Today, I would like to present you very shortly about our work in urban planning in cooperation with the State Committee of Urban Planning and Architecture. My name is Royal. Leyla Hanım has already mentioned about very basic information about me, thanks to her. Our main presentation about the establishing a georeferenced system to support urban planning control. From the previous presentation, we heard a lot about artificial intelligence, how it can be implemented and how it can interface with urban planning. And so we are already in the process, and we are already started, initiated, and already somehow developed software that uses artificial intelligence to help urban planning for more sustainable development. So from the recent yesterday's event, we already noticed that highest level of the support and participation of in the country for urban development and for planning new cities. So we have many reforms in urban planning and construction in recent years, and it has already made the system for the people to construct new buildings and resilience. But sometimes it's so easy to somehow to get, certificate or license to build a new building, but sometimes it also creates more cases to control. For example, we have many buildings, but it means that we have many cases to control. Is it correctly or is it built as it was planned? So, despite all the positive changes in the legislation, but there are always still a risk for the the violation of this legislation. For example, sometimes the buildings are not built as it was planned and, for example, granted. Sometimes, during the several days, there are illegal buildings or construction activities happen in the cities, especially in big cities. And also there are some kind of damage for the historical and cultural monuments, especially outside of the cities. Sometimes it happens. So it brings a lot of manpower to control the system, but sometimes manpower requires a lot of resources, and also sometimes you cannot centralize all the data, what happened, how it happened, and how we can prevent these activities. So in this regard, with UNDP expertise team in GIS, we approached State Committee and presented our expertise in this field, and thanks to the committees, they supported us, and we started the project to prevent all these activities and monitor all urban planning activities through satellite imagery to prevent and monitor what's happening. So main purpose of our project is to establish an electronic system that will detect automatically any illegal or any construction or demolition activities, and it's where it happens all over the country, what's the coordinates, etc. It detects all the construction and this all the changes in urban planning. And then immediately detect if it's legal or it's all illegal. For example, we have one demolition activities in the outside of the city. It finds through satellite imagery what's going on there. And then for the state committees, they have already a central program for legislation of all these urban activities, the construction activities. And it automatically compares this data with internal system if it's legal or not. We have already granted this construction activity to this, for example, party or to this person, and then it detects if it's legal, if we have already this data in our central system or request, it approves, okay, it's legal, it's green, they can go on. But sometimes it's not legal, it requires extra or further checking the place or to ask some of our inspectors to see the site. So, and the third main work of this system is that taking appropriate information and taking all these cases created to send other agencies, other ministry, for example, Minister of Emergency Situation, local authorities, and so they can take some actions to prevent illegal construction. Because main problem, the colleagues can confirm that if any construction activities already happened and it's illegal, it requires a lot of process to demolish it. And it's not easy process to somehow demolish already constructed place, building. It doesn't matter legal or illegal, so that's why sometimes people use this kind of, I would say, tricky part to build their illegal constructions. So this is the main part and the purpose of our project. And what we use? We have 3 IT components, I would say, IT approaches that we use to get our goal realized. It's GIS, Geographic Information Systems, that we implement to monitor, to find all the images, and to make the labeling on other images for the satellite images for the surface of all over the country. We started with Baku and Karabakh region, but it will be enlarged for the whole country very soon. So second IT tool that we are using is remote sensing. What's remote sensing? That we use satellite imagery and also we use drone images. In the future slides, I will explain the difference and why we use 2 types of the images. So we already implement and we use the tool of the remote sensing for make it more reliable data source. Second one, third one is artificial intelligence that we use. It's to analyze the data and to have centralized and reliable data source for further action and for policy making for the first. For example, if we have any action happens in some cities, we can say that frequently this kind of illegal actions we can see, or in some cities we don't see. So there is some kind of the message we can get from this, I would say, data. Okay, maybe there's a differences with the cities or the people or mindset in these cities, or there's some kind of the awareness problem, maybe they can be, etc. Or maybe there's some legislation needs to be improved based on that data. So that's why we use these 3, I would say, current IT tools to make our goal realized. They are main structure of our system. I don't want to go in deep because it's more IT side of the system, but what we have the web application that our committee and our operator use this web application to, and we use the centralized web center to analyze this data. We have ArcGIS, GIS servers to make all the layers and the mapping to work on it and to make it usable for the system. And we have PostSGL, and we have registration of satellite imagery. We have satellite imagery because we can get it from different companies. Usually, actually, we use Other Skies, Other Cosmos, Other local IT company that they provide imagery with us, and we can source this data on the system because we get to these data very frequently. For example, in every 15 days, it's a lot of kind of the data sources, and it's quite a high sense of the information because you can get all the information all over the country and the surface information. That's why we have the registration of satellite imagery, and it's high level, the secured place. And satellite imagery processing, labeling them, etc. So this is our first start. The image of our labeling period. That we take all the, we use the machine learning to recognize all the construction buildings and their own all coordinates, their own location and their types. And firstly, we recognize all over the country. We use the machine learning and teach them that where are the, for example, from the roofs of these buildings, for example, in the south of the Azerbaijan and the north of the Azerbaijan, they are different, for example, color of the roofs. But in the end, the system recognizes that, okay, this is the house building, this is the governmental building, etc., etc. So this is the first part, is label all the maps. And then this is actually a screenshot from our system, how it works. So you can see the highlighted places. So it means that construction activities had been placed, these areas outlined. Green ones, it means that it already had been checked with the internal system and it is legal. So there's no any case to worry about. Red ones, it means that it's not legal. There's no proper documentation of this construction activity. So it requires further inspection from these responsible agencies. And then after these responsible agencies visit the site, they complete different kind of the forms and inspection report, and then further actions will be taken. So this is the how our system will work. It's already in piloting, testing, I would say, phase. By the end of this year, we will launch the first variant or first phase of this system, and in few months, the committee will have the access, and they will use this tool to recognize, to monitor all the urban planning all over the country. As I already mentioned, we use two types of the photos, from satellite photos and drone images. Actually, they are standard to orthophotos. All the photos has been standard, and we work on it, and it's orthophotos that we use to analyze it. But satellite imagery, sometimes what's the good and bad side of this? It's very, I would say, reliable, and it's very easy to access these photos, but it's quite pricey. Since we would like to compare places in, for example, in every week, every image, especially, for example, for 1 square kilometer, it's around 20 USD. So just imagine if you would like to get all this data for all over the country, it means that over 5,000 square kilometers. And in every 10 days or 15 days, it's quite expensive. But we already have the cooperation with Other Sky, Other Cosmos company. They already provided fair enough, I will say, price for the committee, for the state. So it benefits us to have a satellite company in your country that you can use the benefits of it. So and sometimes one of the risky part of it's weather, especially in the early spring. It's sometimes cloudy, and sometimes you cannot get clear enough images to analyze on it. An alternative for that is drone photos. But drone photos, it sometimes requires a lot of time and resource to take all the the big places. But it's quite a very, I would say, speed or very useful tool to have this, whenever there is a cloudy, you can use the drones. And to using drones, you don't need many manpower. You need just, for example, one trained pilot that you can use the drones. You can take all the photos. And so this is where we get our, I will say, images to analyze it. We have, before starting this project and we working on the IT side, we have invited expertise from the UNDP Global. We have GIS experts from UNDP Global from New York office, and they are still on us. Their expertise in GIS helps us a lot to somehow implement and learn from different experiences. But this kind of the project, it's the first ever in Azerbaijan, and it's first kind of the UNDP and UN Global the project that we are implemented. So we are really somehow open for your reviews and for your comments, because it will help us maybe to improve or to have for further cooperation. And we are ready to enlarge this experience to other countries. Maybe they already have same challenges for the urban planning, because this kind of, for the future enlargement, we are working on it. It will use different tools to make cities more sustainable and to control it. For example, it will compare all the construction activity if it's in accordance with general plans, master plans. If there are any changes or differences with master plans, the current surface, how, for example, percentage is different from the master plans. It will use and evaluate the old environmental sites or environmental standards of the city, how it's different, what kind of improvements needs. And for the future enlargement, it will invite all the stakeholders, for example, different agencies, local authorities, for example, Minister of Emergency Situations, electricity, gas, water, etc., because they also have this similar work for the urban planning, and to control all the information, to provide all the information on the centralized system.
I'm sorry, we just need to mind the time.
Okay. I just wanted to use the benefits of having the partner in the company. So, okay, so this is the kind of our plans for future enlargement, and we are ready to share our experience to other countries as well, if they have similar challenges, because in the beginning it took a lot of time to somehow bring all these ideas and the reality in the same table. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope we will kind of have useful tool for more smarter and the sustainable future. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to invite our last speaker for the panel, Aaron Biro. We will talk about lessons and future of digitalization in urban. And let me just share a little bit about our speaker. Aaron holds a Master of Advanced Architecture from University Politécnica de Catalunya, Spain, Bachelor in Architecture from St. Istvan University, Hungary, and Architecture, Design and Construction Management from Vaio University, Denmark. He started his professional career in Nantes, France. This is 23 studio. Later on, he moved to the city of Barcelona, where he collaborated with several internationally known architects and researchers. Aaron gathered experience in master plan and urban designs, residential, commercial, and high-rise architectural projects situated in the Middle East, North Africa, Asia, and the EU. He took part in several academic research projects such as Superblock, Barcelona, 3D printing methods. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Leyla, for your kind introduction. I am just going to be as quick as I can, so as I see as we just need to be. So just let me introduce myself. My name is Aaron Biro from Budapest, Hungary, and representing the company of Beam Group. And it is just good to be here, and also because that we are working on the one of the village here in Jabres area. It's called Sultanli, like since like 6 months, we have the chance just to work on the master plan of it. So just I'm gonna show some quick some examples about just communities, how to make stronger communities, and I think this is not mine, right? So let's talk about digital construction. Yeah. All right, thanks guys. Okay. All right, so just talking about the community, how to make stronger communities, and just also how to use digitalization in order to support the communication between the community, municipality, and the town planners. So of course, in just developing in that kind of urban environment, there are like a huge amount of data, and back in my country, the state started to develop one kind of a system where you can see like all those informations which are quite good for the town planners, architects, municipality, and just also the community. So basically, it is this is that kind of platform. What we are developing is that, for example, if you are living in some kind of neighborhood in Budapest, Hungary, and you are just looking for some information about schools, about like pharmacy, about like what kind of developments are going to be in like a certain zones, you can make suggestions, and you can talk to the town planners. You can give ideas to the municipality. So it's that kind of a platform which is going to get just to help to communicate between all these target users, and in just Hungary, like all the cities, like needs to create some certain document which is called a Sustainable Urban Development Strategy, and by just doing that, we were involved in some cities and villages, and just picked one which is something similar to that Sultanly village we are just working on now. And by doing this strategy, we just found out some certain frames what this needs to be designed and just really followed up. It's the local characteristics, like infrastructure, public transportation, and also environmental condition, like water treatment, green zones, and of course the communication between the locals. And just I would like to point out this one, because I think personally it's the most important one. So for example, here what you can see is that kind of intervention map, because when we started this strategical documentation, the first point was just sitting down with the community in some certain groups, talking about specific issues, and by just talking to them, by just giving like feedbacks, we could discover like which point of this town like needs like more thinkings, like more kind of interventions, and which are more kind of specific, urgent, and also this one in that further part of that urban design, also to kind of make that strong community, the communication between themselves, between the people, between the municipality. It is just super important because here in the Karabakh region, it is good that the people can come back, but just to make them stay, it's like super important just to create the feeling, for them that they have such a good community. So with that town, we were like creating like a simple application where the people can like talk to each other, but also they can see like certain information from the municipality, and of course the municipality can see specific issues about the community. For example, if they have some problems about street light, about anything, or if they have a suggestion about giving some kind of activities. So it's like making faster the communication between them, but just also making stronger the community, and just coming back just here to this certainly village here in Jabrail, because we were like created several stormwater reservoir, and just our main idea for this village as well, just to use that canal which we discovered there, like kind of reconstruct it, redesign it, and just saving the water in the area, cooling the spaces, and of course using it for some certain agricultural issues. So I'd like to thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you. And now we are moving to Q&A session. We have to be short as we are super out of time, and agenda slided really down. So I will just ask one question from each speaker, and I kindly ask you to be very short and precise, like 1-2 minutes for each question if possible. And let me start with Ms. Zeina. And here's my question to you. So, could you please explain more about how congestion charging is a good thing?
You can hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Leyla, for the question. This is a very good question, by the way. As I mentioned in my presentation, so I know that congestion charging and toll road seems to be money coming out of the pocket, and people always find it difficult to pay money out of their pocket. But what they don't realize is by being stuck in traffic with all the stress of the congestion, the accident, the delay, they're actually paying money as well. It's just indirectly. So this is why I believe if it's done in a socially just way, because also you need to keep in mind that some people may not be able, still need to use their car and may not be able to afford to pay the toll road. So there must be a lot of consideration being taken into account. But if all considerations are taken into account, keeping privacy also into account. Speaking about privacy, banks know everything about us, so there is no privacy. So I believe that also it's a non-issue when it comes to toll road, the privacy issue. So keeping in mind that it is a just solution, and the government is providing alternatives such as public transport, such as alternative routes, then I believe that it is a good thing. And one thing London have done greatly is to, when they have started congestion charging in London, they have provided alternative solution. They have explained very well the value because having so many millions vehicles coming into the city at peak hour is just madness. So you need to understand that the city cannot accommodate all those cars. So there must be basically an alternative solution other than driving your personal car. Other ideas could be to have more than user in the car. So basically, there's something called, they do it a lot in California, it's called hot lane, which is high occupancy toll road, where if you have more than 3 person in a car, they don't charge the car for the toll. So there are so many ways, so many solutions, and it's important to learn from each other, to learn from other cities, but to keep in mind that it must be socially fair and socially just in order to be acceptable by the road user.
Thank you. Thank you for your response. And I'm moving to Mr. Johnson with my question. How do digital citizen engagement tools sometimes come up short in meeting expectations?
Great, thanks for the question. I mean, with the projects that we finance around the world, we see a lot of gathering of information from citizens, usually from surveys, but they could be call-in centers, hotlines, grievance mechanisms. And unfortunately, in many, many cases, that information, even though there's a lot of it, does not actually get used. It's one way in and no way out. And it's really unfortunate because it represents a really rich body of information that can inform decision-making in a city or in a project or in any kind of activity that you're involved in. If you're going to take the time to use those tools, then take the time to actually interpret the results and put them to use. There's a couple of different, I think, principles that are also really important if you're going to get meaningful involvement of people. One is spontaneity. Allow people to, I mean, hotlines are one thing, but allow people to respond spontaneously to whatever it is you want to get feedback on. One thing I've seen is actually this like QR codes, putting QR codes on the ground at bus stops when you're asking them questions about city planning, for example. We want to redevelop this neighborhood. Scan this QR code, you'll see an image of the neighborhood and you'll see the 5 different ideas as to what's planned for this area. Give us your ideas. People can respond whenever they want. I mean, if they're waiting for a bus, they have time. The other thing is innovation. Give people some money to work with. So if you have a city budget or a town budget, allocate some money which is only there for citizens to decide how to use it. Invite ideas, and then have a means of sorting through the ideas and making decisions about which things you're going to finance, which things can practically be supported and not. Thanks.
Thank you. And Rial, my next question goes to you. What do you see as a long-term impact and potential for scalability of this georeference system in urban planning, not only in Azerbaijan, but also in other countries facing similar challenges?
Thank you. The sustainable cities and urban planning are a key topic for whole countries, but for different countries, they have different challenges somehow. But some countries, they already have progress on to achieving these goals, but we don't know any further problems or maybe coming, etc. But we already have some standards, ecological standards, city plans, general plans, master plans, for example, environmental codes, etc., etc. But it's really important to have KPIs. Or let's say we have indicators to check this, and we need reliable source to check and for future development and for data-based policy making. So I will say, not in Azerbaijan, for all the countries, that it's important to have the tool compare urban city plans, master plans, and the sustainable development standards, and to compare it with reality and to analyze all the data, what are the improvements or what are the actions we need to take to achieve our goals earlier than it's expected even. Thank you.
Thank you. My last question to Aaron. What are the feedbacks, if any, using the online city application? Sorry. What are the feedbacks, if any, using the online city application?
So that application, what the city was created, yes. Well, basically it was started like around 2 years ago, and actually it's just quite growing, like, you know, like thousands of people connected to that, and the state of the municipality like started a specific project, you know, based on those comments what they just got from the people. So my personal opinion that is that it is just quite good, you know, and you know, just some kind of communication started, some kind of direct communication. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And here we are, covered the panel on digitalization. And thank you, honored speakers, for your amazing presentations. We don't have time for more questions, unfortunately, but we are still here. Our speakers are here for the networking. So if the audience had the question, you just can approach them and ask directly. Thank you so much for your time. And here our panel is over, and over to organizers. Thank you.